Sandy, we're here in Berkeley, California. You're sleep in your car, but it's against the law, so you sleep on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I sleep on the sidewalk in a sleeping bag, and I'm trying to. I don't use drugs. I don't use alcohol. I don't really do anything wrong. I'm just old, and it's hard to find work at my age. And so, if anybody out there wants to hire me, I am very employable, and anything to get off the streets. It's a miserable existence. I'm not completely crazy yet, but I'm getting there.
Wow.
From sleeping, just having to live this lifestyle. The police gave me a ticket one morning. When I woke up, I had to hide from a crowd that was whatever. I don't know what they were doing, but I basically wanted to get a little bit in a safer situation. I hid kind of inside this church, and they gave me a ticket, and now I can't pay the ticket. It's $400. I can't pay $80. I have no income whatsoever. I don't qualify quite yet for what they call, a crazy check. I don't qualify for anything because I'm not quite old enough for senior services, but not quite, but nobody wants to hire someone my age, so it's kind of a really tough situation. So I'm just, hopefully this will help other people, other women, and other people improve themselves. So.
If you had 3 wishes, what would they be?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't wish right now, it seems kind of like I just wish for hope, for people to have hope. That would be my 3 wishes, because sometimes you don't even have that loud hope. So.
Took a drink. I ain't no fucking homo. Sissy liberal.
We've been told there's Adam and Eve. There ain't no Steve.
Literally.
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 How do you know?
Problem with me, I'll beat you the fuck up. I'm packing. I got a gun in my butt.
Aren't your dad and mom related? They're brother and sister, I swear.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
Not on paper. Yeah, I don't do politics, but I only vote for Trump. I don't watch sports for the fucking balls.
You got them pronouns. That's what you got.
I bet
The news station.
we were born in America. We're more legal than you. So how much are we getting paid for this documentary? I'm just sad.
Cause you're poor? Cause you're poor?
I heard you the first time.
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator. Benny.
Yep.
okay.
Somebody else have a question? Please speak up.
Wait, listen to how crazy this is. When my husband and I first started dating, the first time I ever cuddled him, kissed his forehead, scratched his neck, gave him a massage, and played with his hair, he almost had a full-on breakdown of crying because he said no one had ever done that to him before. Is that common? That's so sad.
Hey, jaywalker, figure it out. I'll also break the law, so. Woo. Multi-kill. Look out!
So Jesse has this friend who doesn't blink when he's looking at me. And I don't wanna be like Jesse, your roommate's a creep, but I swear I can hear him breathing in the closet while we sleep. And he's watching me with those eyes. And every time I spit my gum out, he collects it from the trash. How does nobody realize there's something wrong with Jesse's friend? Keep an eye on Jesse's friend. If I go missing, tell my mom where to look.
Right now we hear that Biden is either a cheating monster who wants to take over the world with his woke, communist, nightmare socialist hellscape, or he's an incompetent, deluded old man who doesn't know where he is or what he's doing most of the time. Both are wrong. Biden not only knows exactly what he's doing, he knows who he's doing it for, and that's the American people. But if you're having trouble putting your finger on exactly what he's done, let's broad strokes it so we can stop with this ridiculous narrative that doesn't help anyone but Republican candidates trying to get elected on lies. Okay, so Biden came into office in January 2021, right after the first insurrection in this country's history, and under a cloud of suspicion cast on him by the previous president that he wasn't the rightful leader. But instead of getting bogged down by all that drama, he rose above and from day one spent his time and political capital addressing the pressing issues facing the nation. With the pandemic top of mind, he immediately passed the COVID relief bill, managed the successful cross-country vaccine rollout, staved off economic collapse with things like rent freezes and eviction moratoriums and stopping student loan payments, and cutting childhood poverty by 40%. He got America back into the Paris Climate Accord and healed our relationships with our NATO allies, which would serve him a year later when he would rally those same allies against Russia's despicable war against Ukraine. Despite being told it was impossible, Biden was able to pass a bipartisan infrastructure bill. So after decades of hearing about our crumbling infrastructure, the Biden administration actually passed a $1.2 trillion infrastructure package that authorized the federal government to spend money on roads and bridges and highways and airports and train stations, as well as bringing universal broadband to every American citizen and removing all the lead pipes that were slowly poisoning us. He signed the PACT Act, which will provide health care and benefits to veterans exposed to burn pits in Afghanistan and Iraq. He signed the CHIPS Act, designed to strengthen American-made manufacturing, advanced computing, quantum information technologies, and biotech. So we'll have more homegrown jobs in high tech right here, and we can stop shipping jobs overseas to strengthen the economies of countries that pose a national security threat. Biden also passed the most significant gun control bill in 30 years. Authorized the assassination of the head of Al-Qaeda, and forgave all or part of the student loans of 43 million borrowers, most of whom make under $75,000 a year and were trapped in a cycle of debt. Finally, he passed the Inflation Reduction Act, the single biggest investment in the climate in the country's history, but also a bill that will allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices, bringing costs down, capping out-of-pocket expenses for seniors, and establishing a $35 cap on insulin. The bill also imposes an internationally negotiated minimum tax rate on billion-dollar companies, so they can no longer avoid paying taxes. It increases the funding for the IRS, so the very richest Americans can't continue to cheat the rest of us out of trillions of dollars in unpaid taxes. The country is in a job boom, has historically low unemployment, and Biden just issued an executive order to safeguard access to reproductive health care that is being attacked right across the country. He's created more manufacturing jobs than any president in decades, fulfilled his promise of putting a stellar black woman on the Supreme Court, and just announced a plan to end hunger in America by 2030. Sure, gas prices went up, but they've also went down for 14 weeks straight. America has nearly 10 million new jobs, and the deficit is on track to fall by $1.5 trillion this year, the biggest single drop in U.S. history. To contrast that with the last administration, the deficit went up every single year Trump was in office. You hear how the Democrats wanted to fund the police, but it was the Biden Democrats who voted to increase funding for law enforcement when every single Republican voted against it. We hear about how the borders are open, but the Border Patrol and DHS under Biden has seized tens of thousands of pounds of drugs this month alone, and apprehensions are up across the board. In fact, the 2023 border policy is almost 600 pages long and includes $17.5 billion from America, with Biden getting Mexico to agree to throw in $1.5 billion to even it out. Under Biden, Medicare premiums are set to decrease. There is a plan to crack down on junk credit cards and excessive bank fees, and they've made a new rule to require airlines to be more transparent about the fees they charge the passengers. So the Republicans can go on and on about Biden's radical agenda and how it's ruining the country, but we should know by now that just saying something doesn't make it true. If it did, Trump would still be president and none of the great things I just told you about would have ever happened. Try and remember that when you vote in November.